What's going on YouTube? Your boy Bluff City back with another video. And I got a very interesting story to share with you guys via news break. This is I call her the nurse from hell because she decides to use thoughts and prayers to try to heal this diabetic grandmother. It is absolutely insane. Before I get into this video, make sure you give this video a like, share, and subscribe if you're new so you do not miss a new video. I release new videos daily, probably sometimes every day, sometimes every other day, just depending on how busy I am. But anyways, let's get into this video. Nurse trades grandma's diabetic insulin for prayers and supplements, leading to her death. Mm, mm, mm. Oh yeah, she looks so happy to be in that orange jumpsuit. Just look at that face. Is this the face of a nurse you can trust? Trust Jesus. Say your prayers and take your vitamins. That sounds like something Hulk Hogan used to say. The nurse who was fired for refusing to get vaccinated allegedly touted online after swapping her 80-year-old grandmother's medications for supplements she was selling. Wow. A prosecutor in Marathon County, Wisconsin, expressed his deep frustration that a fired nurse didn't get a harsher sentence for her alleged role in the death of her 80-year-old grandmother. The senior citizen died when her granddaughter stopped giving her insulin and medication to treat her diabetes, trading them for prayers and supplements. A diabetic grandma that doesn't take her insulin, she's already up there in age, and then you think to trade that for prayers is insane. I argued for 6 years in prison. Assistant DA attorney DA, Sydney Brubacher told Long Crime on Thursday, one day after a much lighter sentence for Candace L. Sheaton, 38, was handed down. I laid out the seriousness of the offense, how she knew she was doing something wrong and tried to cover it up. Brubacher said how she was a nurse and who was fired for not getting vaccinated and continued treating patients without having the authority to. I don't think it's just her that needs to be held accountable, in my opinion. The judge ignored me completely. The ADA laminated. She said she thought that she wasn't a danger to the public. Mm, mm. In May, after about 2 hours of deliberation, Shahan was found guilty for negligently subjecting an individual at risk to abuse causing death per court records. She was sentenced this week to 9 months. Wow. She kills her own grandmother and gets 9 months in Marathon County Jail and 6 years probation. Okay, that's a slap on the wrist if you ask me. There's no other way to explain that. That is a slap on the wrist. Had this been a dude, he'd probably get 15, 20 years minimum, not tops. Minimum 15, 20 years, maybe even life. But since it's a woman, slap on the wrist, 9 months, 6 years probation. What kind of shit is that? For killing your own grandmother? Wow. At the time of her death, Sheaton's grandmother, who has not been identified, measured a blood glucose level higher than 600. My goodness. According to prosecutors, in the days leading up to her death, records showed her glucose levels between 300 and 500, which can be dangerously high when unmanaged. Hell, it's at 600. That's knocking on death's door right there. According to the Cleveland Clinic, a healthy blood glucose is for someone without diabetes is around 70 to 99. Wow. While otherwise healthy diabetics can range slightly more from 50 to 140, glucose levels over 600 can often lead to diabetic coma and or death. The more you know. As a part of the evidence used to secure a guilty conviction, Brubacher and his team combed Sheaton's social media accounts where she decried medications and spoke of the power of prayer instead. My goal in doing this is to truly be the hands and the feet of Jesus, she said in one video per police documentation. I truly want to help people and I want them to get off all the crap that the healthcare system puts them on. While her intentions may be in the right direction, she went about this all wrong. You don't just stop giving someone who's a diabetic their insulin. There's a reason they need that. And prayer alone is not going to get the job done. It's not. Because if you've read the good book, you know faith without works is dead. She went on to talk specifically about being the caregiver for her grandmother. She was on 18 different pills. She was on 70 some units of the long acting insulin twice a day and like 30 or 40 of the short acting, explained in the video. And the time has went on, and more knowledge I've gained and the more strength I've gotten from God, I've realized that, hold on, we don't need this much. That is ridiculous. No, what's ridiculous is you think that God is just going to heal your grandmother when she just stops taking her insulin, and she'll think everything's all better. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Not at all. In another video, she touted the changes that she made to her grandmother's medicine regimen, sharing that she had reduced her insulin and taken her off the Tylenol completely. According to Brubaker, Shahan often interacted with and called out her followers as well for not following her prayer driven methodology. Mm. Trust Jesus. Say your prayers and take your vitamins. I love how she quotes Hulk Hogan. That's what he used to say back in the day when he was still alive. She said to one user with a diabetic spot, wow. She had urged her to get him off his fucking insulin before he gets sick. She clearly and repeatedly said, I don't believe in insulin. I think medicine practice is letting people down. Brubaker told Law and Crime. So, yeah, she's a threat to the public, obviously. Sheehan's grandmother had been diabetic medication for 3 decades before Sheehan made the decision to start modifying her treatment plan. In lieu of the necessary insulin she took daily, Sheehan gave her grandmother unspecified supplements, which she was also selling online. Police responded to Sheehan's home on January 8, 2022, where they encountered her grandmother dying despite her dangerously high blood pressure glucose levels. Sheehan told first responders that she did not want her grandmother taken to a hospital. She also refused to allow them to take her vitals. Look, the more I read this, the more I think that she wanted her grandmother to die. Like, come on now. She wanted her grandmother to die. You gonna take her off her insulin? That's like the stupidest thing you could do to a diabetic. Like I said earlier, there's a reason they need that. An autopsy performed after her death showed that the grandmother died from diabetic ticoidosis. I know I'm butchering that, which is what can happen when a diabetic's body does not have enough insulin and produces high levels of ketones by breaking down fat or energy, creating acidic blood. That sounds frightening. Excuse me. Additional complicating factors include a COVID infection and cardiac concerns. The pilot and review also reports the woman had a catheter an IV in place at the time of her death, but there was no evidence in the medical order or for either device. Excuse me. Brubaker also said that he believes she would have gotten away with it as she tried to have her grandmother cremated within 24 hours. She wanted this woman dead and gone. And this just proved it. She wanted her grandmother cremated within a day. Oh my goodness. And had the authorities not been contacted, she would have got away with this. And this would have been it. Because if she's cremated, they can't do an autopsy, and that's it. She was stopped by one of her more skeptical family members who felt something was not right with that decision. That the family member called the police and asked them to look to her death. Calling Shahan's behavior predatory, Brubaker told Law and Crime that it's been a controversial case with members of Shahan's family split on whether she handled her grandmother's treatment properly. Some think she did or not. Some think she has problems. She definitely has problems. The grandmother herself and the pilot and review purportedly told family members she feared for her safety at home. A lot of family who are in support of her gave statements for her at her sentencing hearing, he told the outlet. And there are other family members who think it's just a travesty and a joke. They thought 9 months in prison and probation was a slap on. Didn't I just say that earlier? It is a slap in the face. This is absolutely nuts. This is absolutely nuts. The fact she only got 9 months in prison with 6 months of probation when she gets out. Oh man, that is an absolute joke, man. This woman murdered her own grandmother, and all she had to do was stop giving her insulin and replace it with the power of prayer. How did you do that to somebody? You like, don't you understand that? Listen, if you're a believer, if you're a believer in God and Jesus and all that stuff, like replacing that with medicine, praying to God with and replacing that with medicine, that's not the way to go. That's not going to do anything. Like, come on. You know what? I distinctly remember, like, back when Family Guy was still good, they did a whole episode, a satirical take on people who don't believe in modern medicine and believe in the power of prayer. They did a whole episode on that. I remember watching that, and I thought, wow, this is crazy. There are people out there that really believe you can heal your body without medicine and just pray everything away. That is not. That's not what's going to get the job done. It's not. This woman deserves 20 years minimum. 20 years minimum locked up. Like parole and probation, all that, man, please. 6 years, 9 months in prison. And she murdered her grandmother. You cannot make this shit up. Words can't describe how irritating this makes me. Because my grandmother's up there in age, and I'll be damned. I'll be damned. I'll be damned. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I wouldn't be able to handle something like this happening to her. Mm-mm. Nope. Not at all. And I'm gonna leave it right there. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, I really do appreciate it. Also, don't forget to hit the Linktree link in my description so you can support me directly via Cash App or PayPal. You know what I'm saying? If you decide to do so, thank you. I really do appreciate it. And I will shout you out in my next video, and that is a promise. So with that being said, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Be safe out there. Have a good one.